Alright guys, let's get out of the way. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment if you like. In this video, I'll be discussing a new Villianess anime that just came out. The most heretical last boss queen from Villianess to Savior. From Villianess to Savior, that's already a lot to say. How should she call herself a savior unless she gives herself up for the greater of the world? So the story starts off in a typical day. A high school girl is walking down the street and she gets murdered by Truck-kun. No, why? So she gets reincarnated and she says that it was her 18th year when she passed away, and she was thinking of playing her favorite video game of all time. But she is not Mary Sue anymore. She is now Pride Royal Ivy. She is 8 years old and the daughter of the queen. And she is also the final boss of this video game. Can you believe that? Being reincarnated, not the main character, but the boss of your favorite video game? So the game that she's supposed to be playing is Our Ray of Light, which is an otome game, and in 10 years tops, she's supposed to end this world. And all the boys with a love interest ends up hating her because she causes them lots of trouble. So they end up killing her at the end of the game. Well, now I don't want to play that game. She spoiled the ending. So she wakes up and she's in a bed because I think she's sick. And their father comes in very caring and hopefully she's doing well. And her mom's the polar opposite. She's the queen of this universe, so she has to protect everyone. Well, she's going to end everyone. And she knows she has a sister who's called Tiara. Of course that's her name, right? Tiara Royal Ivy. I mean, it's a good main character name. So even though this is a video game that she's played before, she's still able to change the story. For example, there's a scene with her dad that she's supposed to say that she knows her sister already, and that's supposed to trigger her getting the rights to the throne, and that's supposed to cause all this destruction. But in this one, it didn't happen. He just leaves and she doesn't get anything. And in a bad ending, either her sister Tiara dies or the love interest dies. So this time, she's not going to let any of those bad endings happen. For example, her dad's supposed to get in a carriage that has a broken wheel, and then he's supposed to die because the wheel's broken. Instead, she goes outside and tells him that there's a broken wheel, but because she was hanging on to the window outside, a very strong wind blows her feet off and she almost falls off until someone catches her. So right before falling asleep, because she had a big day, her father tells her that she's gonna have a fake brother. As she's falling asleep, she remembers that she tortured this kid. She made him sign a contract that says that he can go and see his mom again, but it wasn't. It was just a contract that sells off his soul. Damn, what a bitch. So since she saved her father, that means her mother also hasn't died, which is another indication that she's changing the story. So she meets her younger brother Stale. He's an only child that really loves his mother, and he's the love interest of the game. He's a 7-year-old who has to become prince of this kingdom, and by force because they had to handcuff him so he wouldn't run away. It's pretty sad because the 7-year-old had to be ripped apart from his mother because the kingdom wanted him to be a prince. And on top of that, he has to sign a contract of subordination, so basically become her slave. And she keeps remembering the game that she played and how shitty her character that she was reincarnated into. She doesn't want to trick him anymore, she wants to become friends with them instead. So that night, while everyone's asleep, she sneaks into her dad's room and steals the key to unlock the handcuffs from his closet. And she goes over to Stale's room and tries to unlock his handcuffs, but he says don't do it because he's heard that if he does leave, they will go over to his mom's house and kill her and him after they find out that he's gone. This 7-year-old is a good kid because even though he explains to her that he was really crying in the 2 weeks that they gave him to say goodbye to his mom forever, he would never want to go back because his friends back home also have special powers, and after he dies, they're probably going to take them instead, and he would never want that to happen. He is way too kind. He even says you should probably go back to your dad's room and put the key back because he's going to get very mad at you. And he wouldn't want that for her. So the next day, they finally sign the contracts, they unlock him from the chains, and the father now calls him son. Everything seems very forced to me, and I think, oh man, he's going to be just an AI character where he's going to say the same thing every day. I mean, after signing the contract, he goes over to Pride and he's very happy for some reason. It's probably those stupid contracts. But he goes over there and he tries to call her Princess Pride, but Pride tells him to just call her Pride, since they're going to be family from now on. Until some asshole who works there says, while on your free time you can call her Pride, but in front of everyone else you must call her Royal Sister or Royal Highness. And then he starts saying a lot more shit about people not being here, trying to imply that no one really cares for him, so the king just punches him in the head. So the way they have fun is they run around the big mansion, and he specifically likes to go to the library and read a bunch of books. But inside you can tell that he still feels like shit because the guy told him a lot of stuff. So he's having a hard time calling her Pride, so instead he calls her Princess Pride instead. Up until he faints because he calls her Pride, and that's too much of a shock to his head. And the reason why he's sick right now is because he's been spending the whole week studying on how to become a prince, or how to eat right, how to talk right, how to not be a kid. And that has tormented his head so much that he's crying in his sleep. And then she remembers that when she was playing this game, Princess Pride made Stale kill his own mother, the mother that he loves. And now Pride's crying because he has an empty heart now, but only if she knew that his heart isn't as empty as she thinks, because she's making it much better for him. I mean, I like this girl's style. She says, if I ever make your world just a living hell, kill me. With that being said, I guess this is not going to be so bad of a series, I feel, because she's not going to be such a bitch, and he's not going to have to suffer his whole life being a slave for her. Alright, question for you guys. How many of you guys are going to watch this series? Comment down below. Alright, that's the end of the video. Peace.